The reciprocity map will tell you the firearm laws and self-defense laws in the state that you're going to be traveling to. So you'll be able to click on the state that you're going to be traveling to see, do you have a duty to inform an officer that you have weapons in the vehicle, things to look out for when you're traveling to other states.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to continue my approach and leap of faith into controversy. I have a video out now. I'd really recommend you go watch it before watching this video. And that video is, it should be right up here, should you carry a gun? And I try and go in and out, so I tried to be objective, see all the different points of views. And if that's a topic that interests you, go here and check that out. Now in today's video, I want to talk to all of those of you who have decided, yes, I want to carry a gun. So the topic is concealed carry weapons. That's a CCW permit. Now, almost everywhere in the country, at one time, it was illegal to hide a gun on your person. You had to get a special permit. Things have changed a lot. Many states now have what they call constitutional carry, which means that anybody can carry a gun concealed on their person. So two ways to carry a gun. That's one. The first is concealed, and the other is open carry. It's just on a holster. You look at me, the first thing you're going to see is my gun. And so those are your two choices. And it's a really big deal. If you've chosen to carry concealed, in many states, that's just flat illegal, and you can get in a lot of trouble if you do that. So it's really important that you know the law, and every state you go through will have different laws. So what are you going to do? How can you carry and concealed or open and still stay legal and safe and not get arrested, literally not get arrested? And when can you use a gun? When can't you use a gun? If you do use a gun to defend yourself, what's going to happen? What are the potential problems? Well, I'm in Nevada now, and I'm a Nevada resident, and I am going to take a CCW class. And what that means, I'm going to go take a class, and when it's done, the instructor will sign off that I've taken the class. I actually have to shoot the gun. The state of Nevada will send me a card, a CCW card, giving me a permit to carry concealed. And then there's reciprocity, and there's just all kinds. It's a complicated topic. So if this is of interest to you, it's a long video. I hope you'll stay and you'll wind your way through it. So in today's video, I'm going to interview the instructor of my CCW class. You're going to learn all kinds of stuff. It's not a substitute for taking the class. It's an 8-hour class, and about an hour of that is actually the shooting. And so it's about 7 hours of class time. So if you're interested in that, this is the video for you. Let's meet the instructor now. So we're going to move on to the next section of the video. Now we're going to talk about how to carry a gun and be safe while carrying a gun. Now, I'm no expert in that. I'm a researcher. I love to study. I'm pretty knowledgeable, but I wanted an expert. So now we are at Second Amendment Guns in your training classroom, and we're meeting with Travis. Hi, Travis.
Hi, how you doing?
Welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
And you are one of the CCW instructors here,
Yes, sir.
And of course you work on the sales floor.
Mm-hmm.
So you're pretty familiar with guns and laws and everything pertaining to guns. Do you have to have a special license with the state of Nevada to be a CCW instructor?
To be a CCW instructor, you have to have certain certifications. Once you have those certain certifications through NRA or USCCA, you need to have a curriculum that you submit to the sheriff's department, any of the sheriff's departments. Once you're approved by one sheriff department, the rest of the state has to recognize you as a CCW instructor.
You're not just Joe Blow talking about guns.
Right, exactly.
You've proven yourself in a number of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. I think that's important that we don't just blow smoke at people. We have pretty good knowledge of what we're talking about.
Right.
You're going to hear guns. We are in their facility, and there's an indoor range right there. And so I hope you're just going to put up with the gun fire you hear. You mentioned USCCA, and I think that's a really important part of being safe and legal in owning a firearm.
Tell us a little bit about what that is.
So USCCA, not only are they a training organization for CCW and extracurricular training as well to further your ability and mindset, USCCA also offers an actual self-defense insurance, which is probably the most detrimental part of getting into any self-defense situation is what comes after the fight. Most self-defense encounter situations last anywhere from 3 to 15 seconds overall at the most, and it's over, and then we're dealing with the aftermath. And generally the aftermath, if someone gets severely injured, you're normally almost always going to be encountering some type of legal trouble in the aftermath of that. If someone, the good guy, wins and the bad guy gets injured or even leads to death, you can almost guarantee that there will be some type of civil suit, right? The legal fees are what bury people in these situations. The system isn't normally weighted towards the good guy. It's usually weighted against the good guy. There are times where the good guy obviously makes it out on top. We have, the justice system, pulls through, but prosecutors a lot of the time do everything they can to push anything that they can, so to speak. In a simpler terms of putting it, you can't get money out of a broke or dead person, but you can get money out of somebody who has a job and is a law-abiding citizen. So that's kind of the way to look at it. So the civil suit's almost 100% in those types of situations. So USCCA has an insurance program that will cover all of your legal fees, unlimited legal fees. And when I say that, it's not a reimbursement program or a discount program like other legal programs out there. It's an actual insurance that you pay your monthly or yearly fees for the coverage, and all the legal fees are covered unlimited. The settlement fees, they'll cover up to $2 million in settlement fees for civil and criminal lawsuits. They have the best lawyers, self-defense lawyers, in all 50 states and U.S. territories that would be able to represent you. And that's, not even just considering the legal side of things, it's also the training side of things. You have access to the Protector Academy for all the videos to help you prepare mentally for, an emergency situation, right? Because it doesn't matter how much you train to shoot accurately, right? Shooting accurately is a very easy task if you have a good instructor, someone who knows what they're doing. To shoot straight is a simple motor skill, right? Being able to make a quick decision and make the right decision is the hard part. So that's why USCCA, the videos that they have to offer, the training that they offer, we highly recommend it. The more training, the merrier.
So the key takeaways there are be mentally prepared, lots of training, and avoid a fight if at all possible.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. The key of self-defense is situational awareness. That should be the first tactic we're employing at all times, and exercising the most situational awareness possible. Because if you have good situational awareness, you'll be able to see the threat before it becomes an issue. You'll be able to avoid the situation and get yourself to safety without ever having any trouble whatsoever, right? We used to say the best gunfight to be a part of is the one that didn't happen, right? And the only way to do that is by being situationally aware. Be aware of what's going on around you before you head right into it. Don't be walking with your head in your phone, your hoodie up, your earbuds in. And we definitely recommend, if you see danger and you're kind of already in it, you should be looking for a way out before looking for the fight. You only want to fight if you absolutely have to, if you have no other option.
So even if a person chooses not to own a firearm, get the training on situational awareness could well save their life.
100%, yes.
There's no winning a gunfight. Even if you come out okay, you got the court system to go after next.
Yep.
So avoidance, and I'm sure that's one of the key things that every CCW class teaches.
Yes, that is
avoid it.
That's the main principle that our class revolves around, is giving you the tool to avoid it altogether, because that is what's going to benefit the person in the self-defense situation more than anything. They don't have to go through the court case. They don't have to go through the mental trauma of having to shoot somebody or possibly taking a life. You know, it's not something that people feel good about. You know, they don't sleep easy.
You'll be haunted by that forever.
Exactly. You know, those things follow you throughout your life.
And also there's the legalities. There's all kinds of legalities, different states, different laws, federal laws. For a lot of people, they won't own a gun just simply because of the risk of legal problems. And the USCCA has a role to play in that as well. Tell us a little bit about some of their app, their Reciprocity app.
Yes, they have an app, and you don't necessarily have to be a member of USCCA to have access to the Reciprocity map. But the Reciprocity map will tell you not only if you are a CCW holder, but it'll tell you the firearm laws and self-defense laws in the state that you're going to be traveling to. So you'll be able to pull up that app and click on the state that you're going to be traveling to see, you know, what is their castle doctrine. Is it a stand your ground state? Do you have a duty to retreat, or do you have a duty to inform an officer that you have weapons in the vehicle? You know, permitless carry, constitutional carry, mag limits, signs enforced. All, you know, there's many different things to look out for when you're traveling to other states.
And because we're traveling so much, it's really crucial that when you plan a trip, when you plan where you're going to spend your time, you know the laws of that state. And here we have them all listed out in very easy, convenient fashion. And as long as you know what the laws are and you comply with them, you're okay.
Yep.
Of course, we know some states are much more pro-gun or anti-gun, and I don't like that phrase, but that's kind of the way it works out.
It's just the way of the world.
Yeah. So when it comes to self-defense, there's two kinds of guns. There's a long gun or a firearm. A long gun would be a rifle, a shotgun, something like that. And a handgun, of course, is a pistol or revolver that fits in your hand.
Right.
And a lot of our folks out there are probably not sure which they want. Can you give us just a quick overview of long arms versus handguns?
So the main difference is obviously firepower, right? Handguns, you know, we explain that any handgun caliber out there, we don't care what it is, 22, 380, 9 mil, 40, 45, 10 mil, 50 Action Express. All handgun calibers are ballistically deficient, meaning that they're not the gun that's going to stop the fight, so to speak, in a sense, meaning that it's not the ultimate fight stopping round out there, right? We carry handguns because they are concealable, they're carryable, they're a portable firearm, and they're easy to carry on our person, right? It's a much better option to, you know, egress your way out of a bad situation to get to your vehicle and get to safety than it would be if I had to pull my pocket knife out and fight my way out of a building, right? So that's why, you know, we choose to carry handguns. They're generally considered a backup firearm in a combat situation, right? The troops, the military, police, when they're facing a real threat, you know, their main weapon is going to be a rifle or a shotgun. That's what they're out there using. If you ever see a soldier with his handgun out and he's running, don't ask questions, just run with him, right? That's the general consensus, right? Because things went real wrong that way. So it's a better option than the knife, right? And it's quick and easy to use, right? The primary firearm for defense would generally be a rifle or a shotgun. Those are more superior firepower. That's where we enter ballistic efficiency. Any one round generally from a rifle or shotgun is enough to cause a lot of devastating damage to stop the adversary. You know, so the rifle or shotgun would be considered the primary defensive firearm for the home, in your vehicle, right? If you're, you know, in a mobile home, you know, RV situation, you would want to have at least a rifle or shotgun for a primary defensive firearm, because you're going to get more capacity out of your rifle than you would a pistol, right? Most rifles are going to be around 30 round capacity. Obviously, you can get 5, 10 round magazines, but your standard AR-15 mag is a 30 round magazine.
Well, I think for my audience, I think I would not ever recommend your standard battle carbine, because it's illegal in a lot of states just in and of itself. So that means like you couldn't even go into California.
You could and couldn't. So some AR-15s are California compliant, and obviously certain states, California is not the only one, but certain states have magazine capacity law, right? 10-round magazine capacity, and they have 10-round mags for ARs. California would stipulate certain features for the AR to make it legal. And if that is something that you are going to have to be dealing with, then we would recommend making sure you have, if you're choosing for, to opt for an AR, make sure that it is a California compliant AR that you're going to be traveling with, right? It is still a better option for defense because it is a better caliber for stopping a threat. You can obviously always opt for a pistol caliber carbine. That's a 9mm option, something that is compliant with the state.
One of the things that's important to understand and be pretty familiar with is a federal law called FOPA. And it was written to protect people who own firearms and wanted to cross state lines. All the states are different. So this was an overarching, and it's the Firearm Owners Protection Act. If you want to look it up, you can go read it yourself. I'll put it on the screen. It's 18 USC 926A. So tell me a little bit about FOPA.
Under the Firearm Owners Protection Act, which is federal law, as long as you are legally allowed to own the firearm and where you're going to be staying, you're legally allowed to have the firearm. You can transport the firearm unloaded and locked in a out of reach location from where you are, where the driver is, right, and any passengers in the vehicle, basically, and transport that. So technically speaking, if you were just passing through California and you weren't going to be staying in California, you would not have to worry about the 10-round magazine capacity.
No, actually, that's not true.
We just did the research on the Firearms Protection Act. They can harass you. The police officers obviously could harass you and make a big deal about it. But under the Firearm Owner Protection Act, you're not staying in that state. You're legally allowed to own that, and where you're going, you're legally allowed to have it, so that your gun doesn't have to be compliant to the state. Your mag limit is not applicable. So federally speaking, it is legally allowed. Would you run into harassment? Most likely, but most of the time when they're met with the federal statute that you know your rights, they will let you leave a lot of the time. Could they try to confiscate things and require you to come back for a court date? In an extreme case, they could. It's highly unlikely, but like I said, under the Firearm Owner Protection Act, unless you are staying in California, unless you are going to be there technically longer than 24 hours, then you can continue through and continue transporting your firearm under the federal law. If you're going to be staying in California, then you would make sure you're compliant with the mag limits, you're compliant with the firearm. Specifically for California, they have a list of approved firearms. You need to make sure that the gun you're carrying is on that list. You need to make sure any features are in compliance. Like ARs, they require the fixed, upper, the fan on on the pistol grip, all of those features. You need to be in compliance there. But that is a big misconception about transporting firearms. We've had that issue in the past where people have been stopped and they've been harassed, but under that act, they are protected from federal law.
And that's an important one to know. But only while you're traveling through a state. If you stop, you spend a night, then you're not covered anymore. So
you're subject to that state's transportation
right.
law, and you need to get the firearm in that condition that they would require you to in that state.
Right.
And then you also are running that risk that if there's a mag limit in that state, or for California, it's not an approved firearm on the list, you're running that risk of being held liable for bringing that firearm and the magazine into that state, technically illegally, right? But like I said, USCCA is the tool to have in that case because they would protect you legally in that sense. They would represent you in that case.
Are there some gun stores that will take your firearms and hold them? Or if you have them if you have higher capacity, is that something you would do if I were going to California? I think pawn shops do it.
In the state of California, they would not. A gun store,
Well, I was thinking here.
here, yes. If so, say if you needed to store firearms, and magazines and ammo, you could come to our facility and you could store your firearm. We have a storage fee per month. Basically, it's a monthly fee for storing your firearm and whatever you need us to store for you in that aspect. In California, they won't even receive a firearm. Like we could sell California residents firearms, but they have to be transferred. Even long guns have to be transferred to an FFL in California. But prior to doing so, that firearm needs to already be California compliant before the FFL receives it out there. So if it's not California compliant, they won't touch it.
Right. So that's an option. I don't own a 10-round magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So I think before I would even take my handgun into California, I'd just bring it here, put it in storage.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have friends, if I have friends or family,
Mm-hmm.
it'd go there. But if I'm not, and I usually am not around friends and family in homes, I'd bring it here, put it in storage, spend my time in California, and come back.
Right. And in that case, friends or family, there is stipulation on that also.
Really?
So family members, if you were going to store the gun with a family member, it would need to be an immediate family member. Meaning for the state of Nevada, they recognize immediate family member as husband, wife, father, son, mother, daughter, brother, sister, grandparent, grandchild, aunt, uncle, niece, and nephew. That's considered immediate family, where you are not required to do a private party transfer for them to possess or own the firearm.
Is that right? I
Yes,
would
sir.
never have guessed that.
Yeah. So if it is anyone outside of that, if it's your friend, for them to have possession of your firearm with you not being present, you have to do a background check transfer process to allow them to take possession of your firearm. Magazines and ammo obviously doesn't matter, but if you are giving your firearm to somebody that is non-immediate, you're technically, it's not a straw sale, but you're giving it to somebody without going through the background check process. So you, in the law's eyes, you could potentially be giving a firearm to a felon, right?
Okay.
That's where that comes from, is you need to protect yourself in that aspect. So just be careful, when you're storing firearms in that aspect, make sure you're taking the proper steps to do so.
But is it common for gun stores to put them in storage?
Sure. Yeah,
Sure,
we store guns all the time here for various reasons. It's not. Then I think the storage fee varies depending on the firearm. But yeah, as far as I know, I believe almost any gun store will store firearms if need be.
What is a CCW?
So a CCW is a concealed carry weapons permit, which means that you are able to conceal a firearm on your person. Certain blades, knives that are over a certain length, that size would vary from state to state, but they would be also covered under a CCW permit. If you have a knife that is of certain length, in order to have it hidden on your person, you would need a CCW. It allows you to have the element of surprise in a self-defense situation. It's not by any means a ticket that says that you are a trained self-defense shooter. It just means that you've met the state minimum requirement to be able to conceal a weapon on your person.
What's contrast to that to open carry?
Open carry, you lose the element of surprise, but there is also the other element of deterrence, a visible deterrence, that people see the firearm and they may go, oh, I don't want to mess with this person, or this is, if a robber was in the area or something like that, they may go into the store and go, oh, I'm not going to rob it now because there's a guy here with a gun, right? But also, there is the other side of it. It's a double-edged sword where if we did have a determined adversary who was really committed to doing some damage, doing some evil, they would see the person with the firearm, and that would, in their mind, that's just my first target, right? So it's a personal decision that it's up to you to make. You know, do you want to be the visible deterrence? Do you feel like that's stronger than being a target, right? And we prefer to not be, not be the target. The visible deterrence isn't something that should matter much if you're employing your situational awareness like we talked about. If you're situationally aware and you're keeping your eye on your surroundings, and you know who's coming and going at all times, you shouldn't really need a visible deterrence.
Well, Travis, thank you so much for
Thank you.
your time. I mean, you
Yeah.
gave me a whole bunch of your time. I really appreciate it. And your knowledge
Yes, sir.
and your enthusiasm.
Thank
This is stuff that's important to you and you care about.
It is. We are passionate about it here. It makes
Yeah.
a difference in our lives, making a difference in other people's lives.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate
No
it.
problem. We appreciate it, Bob. It's been my pleasure, sir.
If you're thinking about a firearm, don't take it lightly. It's deadly serious. Do what you need to do. And most of all, find a good local gun shop and get to know them, and get the classes, get the training, and so on. So if you got anything out of this video, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye now.